I know I've addressed karma many times before, and yet there's a lot of confusion around karma. So let me share a perspective that might make more sense to those who are kind of steeped in understanding reality from modern perspectives. And what I want to share with you is that the recycling of karma is how information becomes a person. That sounds crazy, but shall we explore it? So, what if you're not a fixed self, but a flowing pattern of information that the universe keeps recycling as new lives, new stories, and new persons? So in the Vedantic literature, we call those patterns samskaras, vasanas, and karma. Subtle impressions, latent tendencies, and the actions and consequences they generate. So in the next few minutes, I want to explore a simple but radical idea. The recycling of samskaras, vasana, and karma is the recycling of information as persons. So you as a person, me as a person, is the recycling of information. Information. That which gives rise to form. So, in classical Vedanta and yoga or yogic philosophy, every experience leaves behind an impression in the subtle mind field. The mind is a field. This impression is called a samskara. When samskaras repeat and cluster, they condense into what are called vasanas, habitual tendencies, likes, dislikes, patterns of attraction and avoidance. These vasanas drive actions, again, karma, and each action in turn creates new impressions and new tendencies, completing an ongoing cycle. Action, impression, tendency, action again. So from this perspective, what we call my personality is actually, or your personality, is actually a dynamic bundle of samskaras and vasanas expressing themselves as thoughts, emotions, choices, and behavior. Many contemplative traditions, and also some modern physicists and philosophers, suggest that consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, that it's a field. Remember Lord Krishna's phrase, I am the field and I am the knower of the field. So consciousness is the fundamental ground from which mind, matter, space, time, energy, and information arise. Therefore, your samskaras and vasanas are not just psychological traits in a brain, they are self-organizing patterns of information in the field of awareness. Now let's bring karma and rebirth into this picture. In many Vedic and yogic teachings, the subtle impressions that are not exhausted in one lifetime do not simply vanish at death. Instead, those samskaras and vasanas persist as a causal body. By the way, that's what my book Quantum Body was all about. The causal body. A subtle informational blueprint that seeks new conditions for expression in future lifetimes. Rebirth then is not a little soul particle traveling from one body to another. It is the reconfiguration, literally, and re-expression of karmic information as a new psychophysical pattern, a new person, a new storyline. It would be boring to be the same person forever. Just as energy in physics is conserved and transformed, the information carried by samskaras and vasanas is conserved and transformed across lifetimes, taking on new forms but preserving a continuity of tendencies. From this angle, I, or you, is not a permanent separate entity. I am a temporary configuration of consciousness, shaped by an ongoing stream of karmic information. The name, the body, the biography, all of this is like a user interface that arises around a deeper pattern of sanskaras and vasanas. When this particular body-mind dissolves, the underlying informational patterns don't disappear. They recycle, recombine, and re-emerge as another apparent me with new circumstances, but a familiar energetic flavor. So the recycling of samskaras, vasanas, and karma is the recycling of information. As persons, these are waves rising and falling in the same ocean of awareness. If you believe that you're only this one personality, you become trapped in its history, its wounds, its ambitions, its fears. But when you recognize that the person is just the current configuration of karmic information, something powerful happens. You stop over-identifying with the pattern and begin to rest as the field of consciousness itself. From that deeper standpoint, you can witness samskaras and vasanas arising and dissolving without being owned by them. This is the beginning of inner freedom, the loosening of karma's grip. Spiritual practice, meditation, self-inquiry, karma yoga, then becomes a way of transforming and ultimately transcending these informational patterns so that the light of pure awareness can shine unobstructed, because that's what you are. Who are you? You're not the recycled information. You're the conscious field in which information appears, plays as a person for a while, and then reorganizes into another story. When you start to live from this knowing, karma is no longer just something that happens to you. It becomes a path of awakening. Information evolving toward the remembrance of its source in pure awareness. So if this perspective resonates with you, take a moment today to simply notice the patterns of thought and emotion moving through you, and silently ask, what is the awareness in which all of this is happening? Once again, thank you for joining me here on the Chopra Well. And if you like these ideas, then you can explore more deeply by joining and subscribing to the Chopra Well and checking out other meditations and talks on consciousness, karma, spiritual growth, etc. Thank you. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma